this was a question sent by Aviwe Sotsaka. So in case you weren't watching last week, I just want to go over what we said and then pick up and move on from there. So it was for an airline company, and in the body of the advert, they mentioned that they had been voted first, coolest actually, in the Generation Next Awards. And they explained that this is a survey for youth brand preference and consumer behavior. Right, so the first question is, what message is conveyed in this statement which is made in the advert? And it's for 2 marks. So what are they saying about their airline? Is that it is forever young. And then the youth has spoken. This is a direct reference to that. So what is the message? I think I would focus on 2 things here. I would start by focusing on the idea that they are always innovative. I think this is a word that I used last week. The essence of this is doing something new. So forever young, they're always new and modern and up to date. So I would expect 1 mark for that. And then this message is they have been recognized as being cool, as being forever young, that's that link, by young people in a survey done with young people. So they are saying we've tried to achieve this innovation up to date and we have been recognized for it by young people. Then they ask you account for the flight attendant's facial expression. Again, it's for 2 marks. Account for, give a reason for. Okay, so she's smiling. It might not look like that. Mbali laughs when I draw. It's very cruel, Mbali. But she's smiling, so I don't think expect a mark for saying she is smiling. If you're in grade 7, 8, 9, I would expect 1 mark for the smiling. 10, 11, 12, you're starting to think, oh, I might not get the mark for stating the obvious. So if you're younger, expect that lower order mark. So she is smiling. This is a level 1 question because you are simply referring to the text. But why is she smiling? She is a flight attendant, so she works for the airline whose advert we are reading. It suggests that she is delighted to work for this airline, possibly pleased that they are recognized for the values and the kind of image that they project. So for older students, you're looking for 2 marks over here. So she's delighted or pleased, 1 mark, that she's working for such a modern, up-to-date, go-ahead, young people kind of airline. Then this is such a typical English question. Students really battle with this. Over the years, so many students have said, what do we do with the discuss the effectiveness? And years ago, where I was teaching in the prefab section of our school, so it really was a long time ago, one of the students said to me, won't you give us a list of everything that we can be asked about for effectiveness, and then give us an example. So punctuation, imagery, parts of speech, figures of speech, sentence construction, paragraph lengths, all of those things. Could you please have a kind of composite worksheet so we could look at what they can ask? But I think the key here is go to effective, say to yourself, in doing what? What is it meant to be effective in doing? And that discussion will come from that recognition. So let's look at the claim. So the claim from the airline is, we are a modern, forward-thinking airline that moves with the times. So start by saying, why have they said that? So who is their target audience? It's young people, it's youth. They want young people to fly on their airline. So how young? Well, yes, you might influence your parents to fly, obviously, when we fly again, but it's young people who can buy airline tickets. So maybe people in their 20s or early 30s. So this is their target audience. What are they trying to achieve? They're trying to reach that audience, to convince that audience that if they weren't part of the survey, they would still feel themselves belonging, welcome with this airline, and that this is the kind of airline that they want to fly with because it's modern and it's forward thinking. So up to date, the latest technology, innovative. I'm back to the same words. Now, is this claim effective in reaching young people? Well, yes, if this is what you feel young people want. They want the latest technology. They want an airline that thinks, that makes plans for the future before the future even arrives. It moves with the times, and it's also thinking about the future. So it is effective in that it's hitting what the target audience would want it to be. And that target audience is based on that youth survey. So this kind of question is out of 3 marks. So where are the marks coming from? I would suggest 1 mark for identifying the target audience because it's effective in reaching that audience. And then 2 marks for your discussion of why would young people want something modern, forward-thinking, and moving with the times. That's another thing you need to do, is say, where are my marks coming from? So I'll identify the target audience. I've got to say something about modern. So the latest technology, engineering that's really cutting edge. And then moving with the times, up to date in every possible way to the needs and the requirements of the passengers, that kind of thing. Make sure you're saying something different, because if you just say modern, 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 new, 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 up to date, up to date, up to date, that's 2 marks, audience and modern. Where's the 3rd mark coming from? A lot of students repeat the same thing, and sometimes in exactly the same words, and they expect the next mark. And I was having a debate with a student recently by email, and he said something like, but I feel I need to say it again to make sure that I'm getting my marks. Yes, I understand that. You're nervous, but if you're saying the same thing, saying it again is not getting you the 3rd mark. It's simply irritating your marker. And seriously, sometimes it is exactly the same words. You'll use modern, 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 up to date, up to date, up to date. And you're going, but you've quoted from the advert and you've used the same word to discuss it. You're not going to get those marks. Right, that's actually as far as we'd got last week. And then I said, for something like this, I'd better pause. So English kind of goes from describe to comment to critically comment. Now, these are home language questions rather than foul. To discuss and to critically discuss. And students say, what's the difference? And teachers say, how do we teach them the difference? This is not easy, but let's just try. When you describe, you simply describe. You are objective and you tell me what is there, either in writing or in a picture. If you comment on, usually they tell you comment on something. So they'll say comment on the tone or comment on the attitude or something like that. They're usually the mood. They usually give you something to comment on. Then critically comment on is basically you're commenting on your comment. You are saying something else, and that critical comment usually comes from the broader context. So if I were to draw it outwards, this is describe. You simply tell me what's there. comment on is a step outside and you look at the context in which the word, the phrase, the figure of speech, the picture is. And then critically comment is you're looking at a broader context than that, society or politics or gender or something bigger than the text, but still relevant to the context. Okay, that's all very vague. Let's try and do it. Comment on the use of colloquial language. So, colloquial language is language of everyday speech. As if somebody were talking to the audience in a friendly way. Right. So why would this advert use colloquial language? So I'm back to the target audience. Because the target audience is young people, the advertiser has chosen language that they feel will appeal to young people, will communicate effectively with young people because it's the language of everyday speech, talking friendly. Now, critically comment on that. You probably say something like, the colloquial language is linked to the target audience, 1 mark, of young people, and colloquial language is used to communicate with them as being their preferred form of communication. In addition, hopefully that would be a 2nd mark. In addition, the everyday speech, as if the advertiser were talking in a friendly way to the audience, would appeal to the 20 to 30 age group. So that's my critical comment. I'm making a generalization that this age group would prefer everyday speech, somebody talking, something friendly, not formal and stiff. They would prefer that, and so they have chosen that in order to appeal to them. And I would hope that I would get my 3 marks.